Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of The Recap, the show where we talk about the big entertainment and pop culture stories of the week, the past week or two. I'm your host, Ashley, and this is my co host, Jed. Say hi to everyone, Jed.
Hi, everybody. Hey, do you want to know how you know that your company has made $1 billion at the box office with one movie this year? You put Stitch on your logo when you go into the Disney Plus app. I don't know if you've seen that yet, but he rolls out. And I
I
was like, what is this? I
know
don't think I've ever seen that with anything else.
that's
So that's what
that's
I
funny,
learned this week. Yes.
but that's totally Disney.
Yes,
So
very
we're
Disney.
back after a brief hiatus. There were plans to do a few episodes actually between now and the last time, but we had scheduling things, and then there was a week where I got sick. So anyway, we're back, and we have
We're
a lot to
here.
talk about.
Yeah.
We're here. We're here to talk about entertainment stuff, Hollywood, how they're messing things up. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so we're going to start things off with this story. Sophie Turner, who many of you probably know from Game of Thrones, has been cast as Lara Croft in the upcoming Amazon Prime Tomb Raider series. And I think this is very interesting casting. She's not someone, I'm not going to say I'm against this casting. I just think it's interesting because she's not who I would automatically picture as being Lara Croft. And I say this as someone who played all of the video games back in the day. And I've seen the movies, the two with Angelina Jolie, and even the one that came out a few years ago with Alicia
Alicia
Vikander.
Vikander. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, which I thought was fine.
It
None of
was
them have been
okay.
like really great. Yeah, but again, not Sophie Turner's not who I would have pictured. But I've been proven wrong before when I've sort of doubted some casting decisions early on, and then the actor shows up and knocks it out of the park, and you're like, oh, okay. Clearly, the casting director saw something I didn't. But yeah, I still think it's some interesting casting. Your thoughts?
Well, it's also interesting because it's Phoebe Waller-Bridge that has created the show. So that I also wouldn't have
Yeah,
put those two together. But so that makes me
yeah.
think that there might be like a different take on this than what we're expecting, which could be cool.
Oh yeah,
Obviously,
yeah.
like Sophie Turner had some action stuff in Game of Thrones. She
Hmm.
can definitely act it, So I mean, when I originally heard it, I was like, huh? And then the more I thought about it, I was like, well, okay, like it's not totally outside of the realm
Hmm.
of people that I would have put in there. I don't know who I would have rather had in that seat either, because
Yeah,
they've also kind of changed Laura Croft quite a bit through the
they have.
years,
They have.
and so yeah, I'm really interested to see this project move forward. It's funny because like I remember hearing that they were creating this series, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a good idea with that IP. Like I feel like there's a lot of adventures you could go on with it.
Hmm.
Um, and then now we're like almost to the point where we're like starting it. So it
Yeah, because they first announced this in 2023
yeah.
that they were going to be doing this series, and then it just sort of languished. And I remember there being like some kind of back and forth, like, oh, it's delayed and things are happening. And yeah, they've now announced the casting and are officially going to start production or filming early next year. So like almost 3 years to the date of when they first even announced this project, which that's honestly the thing that concerns me the most, more so than like,
Mm,
Sophie Turner's casting or even, Phoebe Waller-Bridge's, what she might do. Cause she tends to lean towards like comedy,
hmm
satire a little bit with her work, which I'm open to new interpretations. But yeah, just the fact that it's just been kind of circling development for a while. It's kind of like, why haven't they been able to get this off the ground quicker? Especially because I mean, I don't know how many people are clamoring for a Tomb Raider series. I definitely think it could do well if
Hmm.
with the right material. But yeah, I don't know. It just
Well,
seems like
I think Amazon is, because like they were. I think this kind of came out of that big push of like we need to have that Game of Thrones esque thing where we got
oh yeah, because
like
they
Lord
got
of the
like Lord of the
Rings
Rings in
and
there.
yeah.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, I think they're hungry for that. I mean, they've got a few series that, have lasted and kind of resonated in pop culture.
Hmm.
But that, yeah,
Yeah.
anything big that they can get is, and especially probably targeted towards women, because I do know like you've got things like Reacher, which I'm sure is probably leans
Hmm.
more towards the male audience, but they are, I think, doing a
Hmm.
spin-off of that show too, with the one female that's on his team or something like that as well. So
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, that makes sense. I
yeah,
mean, again, if it's a popular series and you can find other ways to expand that universe and make some money, I mean, that's what these companies are doing. Though that's why
that's what they
they
love. Yeah.
are getting this IP and trying to find ways to tell these stories again or in different ways. We've been seeing a lot of that. Most of the stuff that we talk about is like, oh, they're doing a reboot or remake, or oh, they bought this IP, or they're going to do a TV version of this book or TV version of this movie. So this one is definitely going to be something to look out for. I will be watching it just because I'm curious, because I am a Tomb Raider fan and I'd like to see how this all plays out. So moving on to the next story that we're going to talk about is James Gunn revealing some details about the Superman sequel. Um, and we've learned that it's going to be called Man of Tomorrow, and it's going to be released July 2027. I feel like we're learning more about this one than some of the other DC movies that are in the pipeline, which I guess makes sense because Superman did so well for Warner Brothers. I mean, obviously they were probably hoping that it was going to do well, but it ended up
Right.
doing really well, and it resonated with audiences, and it also got decent critic reviews too. So it's like that weird place that some movies don't get to, where they get both the audience and the critics on their side. But yeah, Man of Tomorrow. I'm interested in this one just because when James Gunn announced this, he shared a picture of like a drawing of Lex and Superman, and Lex is in like a war suit,
Hmm.
and that's led to a ton of like speculation of what that means. Like, how's Lex going to play into this? Especially because no spoilers here, but if you know how things ended in Superman, you're like, oh, so Lex, how's Lex factoring in here? And is there like a time jump? And what's going on here? So I think it leads to a lot of like questions.
Yeah, I mean, I know that they've said that it will be like Superman and Lex Luthor teaming up against a
Mm-hmm.
bigger bad guy, so be interesting to see who they're going to bring out for this.
Mm-hmm.
Does it seem fast to you? Like, because obviously Superman comes out in 2025 and then we get a sequel in 2027. That's like a quick turnaround for that kind of a movie.
Yes, and I was thinking about that, and my question to myself, because I talk to myself, um, was I wonder if, because I remember before James Gunn shared this information about the Superman sequel, he was asked, I don't remember what interview it was, but he was asked about like, oh, some of the other movies like Supergirl and stuff like that, and they asked him, would Superman appear in some of those other movies, and he was like, yes. So I do wonder, even though we're going to get a standalone like Supergirl movie, if Clark slash Superman is going to factor in a little bit more in the other movies than say like Supergirl did in Superman.
Yeah.
And then we're finally going to start getting that sort of connected universe, right? Like you had Superman, which is a jumping off point, standalone movie. It's established Superman. Now we're going to get an established like Supergirl, but Superman's going to be appearing in some way, maybe a bigger part than we maybe are anticipating. And then I forget what the other movie is that's coming out. Um,
The, well, we have
but
Supergirl next year.
and there's
The
another one coming
Lant
out next year though.
isn't the Lantern Core
Yeah,
TV
but that's
show
a
coming out?
series.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's another movie. Is it Clayface?
Well, there's Clayface, but I think it comes out in 2027 after Superman. Hold on a second. I
Okay.
will tell you right now. Oh
Oh,
no, I
to the
lied.
good Lord.
It's a year today from today. So
So
Clayface was
so next
after
year. Yeah.
Supergirl. Yeah.
Okay. So all right. So then
And
maybe again some.
that's part of James Gunn's universe. That's not part of
I
like
think
the
so.
Robert Pattinson Batman stuff.
Oh, Matt Reeves. I don't
Yeah.
know. Maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I'm
I
not
don't know.
sure on that
Maybe
one,
they'll
honestly.
clarify. I'm not so
Yeah.
sure about the DC pipeline right now, the DC universe. But either way, I think that might be the case where we there's in between that we get a little bit more Superman, and then we get. I would hope so because I think at this point, like I was fine with Superman kind of being established, right? And we kind of learn more about him as we go. But I think if every movie is just like in the middle of everything and you don't kind of get any sort of backstory, I think that's going to be a problem. So I'm hoping that that's not the case with this, that we will be getting a little bit more about some of these characters before we get to that, to the team,
What
Lex and Superman team up.
what's interesting is we're going to get a brand new Superman movie, a Superman sequel before we get the sequel to the Batman from Matt Reeves. So that doesn't even
Oh,
start
yeah.
filming until next year
Yeah.
if it starts on time, which, this has
Yeah.
been delayed and delayed and delayed. So,
And that's
that's
another one. It's
crazy.
like, and
Yeah.
I liked the Batman.
I did too. Yeah.
And that was another one with Robert Pattinson being cast. People were like, ah.
Yeah. Wouldn't have
But
thought,
I was fine with it. Yeah.
yeah.
Moving on. Next topic. This one should be really interesting. So, Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. A lot of people have probably heard about this, and apparently, according to reports, it's on track to make $1 billion by the end of its run. Which I think, even though I looked into like the numbers and some things, I'm like, well, okay, $1 billion doesn't seem out of reach for this, considering that the tickets start at like $100 for this. But still, it's only playing at the Sphere, so it's just the one
Right.
venue where it's going to be generating this money, at least for now. So yeah, I think $1 billion is pretty, significant, I would say. Um, Especially at a time where we've talked about this before, where people haven't really returned to the theaters, and studios and companies are trying to figure out ways to get people back in the theaters, and this seems to be uh, a way. I don't know if it's the way, because I have some concerns about Wizard of Oz at the Sphere, but I want to know. I'm curious about your thoughts.
um, well, I agree with you. So like, this is what I relate it to, because I know, just to kind of go into the controversies and stuff like that. Number one, they cut it down. So it is shorter
Yes.
than the
So it's an
original
abridged
film.
version. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yes. They extended things out. So like now, instead of having, I mean, obviously they have to do that because of the screen size issues, but
Right.
instead of,
Mm-hmm.
just being here, now you've got, like a shot focused in. You've got this giant
Mm-hmm.
wide shot with extra things that weren't there before, because you
Mm-hmm.
have to fill that space. But I
Mm-hmm.
also like, and I know a lot of
They
people are
used
like,
AI, which is
yes, they used
very
AI.
concerning
They
to me. To
inserted a
add
couple
characters that were
faces.
not, yeah,
Yeah.
well, David Zaslav's face is there,
Yes. That's
which,
weird. That
okay,
that I don't agree with, but
yeah.
um I think like if you go to Disney World,
Mm-hmm.
there are things like the Little Mermaid show and the Beauty and the Beast show, which is a truncated version where they have costumed characters and stuff on stage, giving you like in some respects versions that if you did not know that story, I don't think you're going to leave there knowing what the heck is going on. And that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. It almost to me is like
I feel like
when
that's different though than this, because it's different than having a movie like Little Mermaid, and then you say, okay, we've taken this story from the movie and we're going to do a stage version in a theme park and it's shortened, versus we're taking the movie and we chop it up and we throw it into AI and we add characters that were never there to begin with and enhance the actors that were there who are dead and cannot consent to it anymore. And then you remove like film grain that was very much like a part of that. I mean, yes, the original movie exists and I can go watch it right now if I want to, but
Mhm.
I feel like that's a different kind of, we're reinterpreting this than just I'm taking a TV show or a movie and I'm making a stage musical for
Well,
it.
okay, let me put it a different way then. So along those lines, I saw I don't know, it's probably 10 years ago now.
Mm-hmm,
They did a thing in here where it was the labyrinth and you
mm-hmm,
watched scenes of the labyrinth, but they also had some people from like Jim Henson's uh company that came out with
mm-hmm,
puppets, and there were interactive parts to it, almost like this,
mm-hmm.
but they shortened the movie. There was an interactive experience.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it was still labyrinth. It was still like, it was just a different way to experience it, and that's what I chalk this up to. This is not taking away from the original, and it's not saying that we're just showing the original on the
Yeah.
screen. I just feel like it's the sing along version of the, like
Yeah, I mean,
K-pop
I'd
demon
almost agree with
hunters.
I almost agree with you on that part with the labyrinth. I think my biggest concern, and I think for a lot of people, is just the AI part, because AI is still that unknown thing. We don't know how it's going
Mm-hmm.
to be used and to what degree. And I think it's one thing if you shorten the movie and you bring out live actors and puppets and they're sing along with it. I mean, I've seen here, the theater they have here, they did like Jurassic Park
Yeah,
uh in symphony, and so you have Jurassic Park playing, you have a live orchestra playing the score along with it, and you have someone to introduce, like, that's fine. I think if you're doing that plus you have, like, again, AI, where we've now added an extra dinosaur in a scene where it wasn't there before, you start to really change the movie. Like, it's one thing you shorten it and you're not adding anything to it, so you're not reshaping characters and story. I don't know. It's,
yeah,
again, it's an interesting debate because I just the AI part of it. I wasn't so upset about, like, oh, they've shortened it and they added, like, haptic effects, right? Because that's like 40x. It's so much of, like, we're we're creating an extra scene and adding AI generated characters that were never there before. For what purpose? I mean, does that actually enhance the experience, or is, like, you're just doing that to make it different? I don't know. I
yeah.
I have concerns. I still
But
am curious. I want to see it for myself
mm-hmm.
before I just completely dismiss it. That's one of the things where I'm like, I have a lot of questions about it because AI is involved and things like that. But I do want to experience myself before I just write it off completely. Because, as we were talking about before we started recording, the people who are behind Wizard of Oz at the Sphere are looking to other studios and saying, "Hey, we would love to do, like, a Harry Potter version of this, or like Star Wars." And it's like, okay, so if this does become a thing, what does that mean for experiences like this, and what will studios agree to, and how will things be changed? I don't know. It opens up a lot
I
of questions.
um I had heard somebody talk about like, oh, there'll be like pitchforks if you do Star Wars because of the Star Wars fan base. Now what I've heard is studios like Disney have been asking for an extra layer of control. So maybe
Which they
those
should.
things
They
like
absolutely should.
extra
Yeah.
characters aren't going to appear in there. But um also, I will say, like, I'm obviously a big Star Wars fan as well, but there are scenes, especially in like A New Hope, that are long, like, watching R2D2 go through the desert for like 10 minutes.
Hmm.
It slows the movie down, and I do feel like you could shorten some of that up and still be okay. I mean, I
Yeah,
totally
but
understand what you're saying about
well, because
this.
I think my biggest issue, I think, was I did read some other stuff, in preparation for the show, and there was, I forget who said it. I'm so bad at remembering names right now, but it was basically like, oh, we're enhancing the movie, we're making it better. It's like you have to understand, like, I don't know, as someone who values art, I don't think it's hard for me to like look at something like Wizard of Oz or some other movie. And yes, there's some movies that haven't aged well, but they are like a snapshot in the time period in which they were created. And
Yes.
also, there were decisions that were made. Like to say that you're improving Wizard of Oz, enhancing it because there are things that they couldn't do back then. I, I completely understand that. That's why you can make a whole new Wizard of Oz movie with a new cast. I think going into the original movie and adding characters and adding scenes and saying like, "Oh, we've made it better," I think just sort of spits in the face of the director and the cast who made specific decisions about the type of movie that they made and then presented and said, "This is our final thing." I don't know.
But I mean,
I get a little weird about that.
they've re-released the Wizard of Oz many, many times in different formats. So, and they've up-resed it
Yeah,
for like things. So should they not do that? I mean, that includes cleaning up some of the grain and stuff like that.
yeah. I mean, yeah. This again, I love this discussion because it does, make us ask these questions. I'll go back to my whole thing about the AI portion is the part that really bothers me. Is it's one thing I think to release something in 4K because maybe the devices that we're watching things on now um, allow for that. I think it's a whole nother thing to add characters and scenes that weren't there. I think it's one thing if you say, okay, I'm gonna release a director's cut, and the director, had extra scenes that didn't make the final theatrical. That's a completely different thing because that director, whether it's like Spielberg or somebody else, had a hand in the original movie.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like it's just them revisiting their work and saying, I want to show you more of it, or I want to make some adjustments, and that's fine. They created it. I think they're allowed to change it. I think it gets weird when it's like, 70 or 100 years or whatever many years later, someone says, I'm going to make that movie better. I'm going to add these characters in there. Dorothy's talked to the Cowardly Lion, but now we've got like munchkins over here now, and they weren't there before, but now look at them back there doing this thing. Isn't it fun? They're doing a song and dance. You're like, what? Like again,
Yeah.
and that's
But then there's
one thing.
like plays. Like I even
But a
know
play
like,
is a different medium, it's a different format. You're not taking the movie and chopping it up. It's a completely different interpretation. And yes, it might be very similar, but I feel like that's different. I feel it's different than going, I'm gonna take the Wizard of Oz, I'm gonna take this off my shelf, I'm gonna import it into my computer, I'm gonna chop it up, and I'm gonna insert some scenes, and I'm gonna release this and say, look, Ashley's version of the Wizard of Oz, isn't it amazing? I've made it better. Versus like, oh, okay, the story of the Wizard of Oz, which was adapted from a book, I'm going to adapt it into a play and do whatever I want to do over here. I don't think that's diminishing the original work, if that makes sense. I don't know. Maybe
I
let
mean,
the people in the comments
I
jump
saw a
in the
version.
comments and let us
There was
know
a
where you stand on that.
version of the Wizard of Oz where they had like um the witch, the Wicked Witch was like supposed to be Madonna, like a Madonna character, like dressed up with like
Oh,
a
uh-huh.
cone bra and stuff like that. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
it, you
Okay.
know,
Is it like a play? I mean, it was a play, it was a different movie, it was a TV show, that's fine. They're not saying it's the original Wizard of Oz and
but are they
presenting it
saying
like
that
it's
this
the
is the original, or are they saying that this is a
I
version that's at the
they're
Sphere?
saying it's enhanced, but I mean it's I don't know. Again, I
Mm-hmm.
need to see it for myself. Because everything I know about it is literally things that I've read. I've
Yeah.
not seen it. So I don't know how drastic, some of these changes are, or if they're minor. And that might change my feelings on certain things. But I don't know if I want to pay $100. I already complained about movie theater tickets prices. I'm like,
I
why is
will
that?
also
And that's for
say,
the bad seats. Like the good ones are like 200 up or something.
yeah, I will say that there are if you don't know about this, there are other elements, like they actually have like flying monkeys that fly, or
Oh yeah,
like and
there's
stuff.
haptic. They have haptic effects, and
Yes.
that's cool.
Yeah, yeah. I'm
Um,
just saying it's not just like it's just a movie up
yeah,
there. They've it's like a fully interactive experience
yeah,
in
it's
a lot of things.
immersive.
And they have
That
a
word
show
everybody
inside
likes
the
to use.
Venetian with the
Yeah.
wizard, which looks really cool too.
Hmm.
So yeah, I know exactly what I know what you're saying. But for some reason this doesn't bother me as much as like the Star Wars special edition, because you can no longer get those original editions
Hmm.
anymore. Like now it's like it's this or nothing, and it's like, but I don't like
Yeah, I
this.
mean
I like that,
that's also a problem too, though. It's like when you have, because we talk about this before with like physical media versus digital, and you've had instances. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but you've had instances where some studios have had versions of those movies on streaming, but they've been altered, abridged, and they don't
hmm
include lines or something that people have found offensive. Um, and it's like, is that okay? Or I don't know. I'm of the opinion um, that I much rather just have like a little disclaimer at the front saying like, hey, by the way, this movie was made in 1930s and there are some depictions that are probably, rather than, yeah, we're just going to take this out. Here's the movie, right? Because
yeah,
that's, you're presenting it like this is the movie, and it's like that's not what it was. So anyway, but yeah, Wizard of Oz is fair. We'll see where this leads. I mean, if it makes $1 billion, especially if they roll it out, because apparently they're going to try to have other spheres in other places. If they start rolling this out, I guarantee you we will see more of this if it makes $1 billion. Yeah. Well, so speaking of like box office, the next story we're going to talk about is The Conjuring, The Last Rites, um, which is a movie that was not really on my radar. I'm not really a big horror movie fan. I watch them, but I don't like run out to see horror movies. And I've seen all of the Conjuring movies, not all the spin-off
yeah,
movies
same.
and things like that. But I've seen every single Conjuring movie because I have a friend who loves these movies, and I've gone with her to see them because she's like obsessed. Uh, they're fine, but anyway, like this one wasn't on my radar, and it ended up doing crazy good numbers at the box office. Let's see, I wrote it down. So it had a $194 million opening weekend. That's worldwide. It
hmm
made 84 million domestically and 110 million international, which was higher than estimates. And it ended up making it the biggest opening for a horror movie worldwide, I believe.
hmm yeah.
And everybody's like kind of perplexed. So like, why did this movie do so well? Because uh, apparently it's like the lowest rated of the Conjuring
Oh, is it
movies,
really?
like in terms of like cinema score and
Yeah.
reviews. So I'm like, I don't know, maybe it's just
Yeah, I'm
ticket prices
shocked
are
at this
higher.
too. Did you end up seeing this one? The
No, I
Last Rites?
didn't.
Okay.
I haven't seen it
Um
yet.
I saw in terms of the other ones, like it's more like the first two, which I think are the better ones.
Mm,
It's better than
okay.
the last one. But to be honest, there's a lot in here that could be cut out. Like, so when it ends up in the sphere, there's a lot they could cut out. No, I'm just kidding. But the um
Make it a comedy.
make it a comedy. Add some characters, add some ghosts and demons and
Yeah.
stuff. But
Uh,
yeah, I was shocked only because like Weapons is a much better movie and Sinners is a much better movie. So I was kind of surprised that this one, being it's the fourth installment of it, it's not really adding anything that's new as far as like
mhm.
stuff. I mean, the thing about it is this movie series has trained you so well to know when the scares are going to happen that it's almost not scary anymore because you know when
It's
that's
like
going to
following a
happen.
template or something. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So it's like, oh, there's a dark corner, cut away, cut back, oh, there's a monster, like, and a
Yeah,
loud
yeah.
noise. Like, if it wasn't for that loud noise, it probably wouldn't be as scary as it was. But I did
Hmm.
enjoy this. I had a good time at this movie. But I'm with you. I mean, and I obviously they released it at the beginning of September. They did
Hmm.
not think it was going to do what it did. I wonder now,
I
like, I wonder if they
wonder.
would have released this earlier, would it have done the same? Or,
See, I was wondering. I think it probably wouldn't have, just because the summer was so crowded. And
yeah,
I also wonder if, because they released it in September, like, people seem to be, I don't know. It's kind of tough for me to judge because we start holidays so early around here.
yes.
But I do wonder if people are like, with people getting into the fall season sort of early, even with marketing for different companies, right? They're rolling out their fall products and stuff. I think maybe people are in that mode, and this is a great movie that's a break from all the other summer offerings. And also, it's a movie in a franchise,
Yeah.
um, which is probably why I did better than like Weapons, because I haven't seen this new Conjuring, but I enjoyed Weapons and I thought it was a fantastic movie. So I do wonder if that's the case. And also, I think I read somewhere where this one was kind of promoted or touted as being sort of the last Conjuring. So I
Yes.
wonder if people were like, well, okay, this is the final one. So we got to go see it. And that was what fueled. I don't know if this is going to be the final Conjuring, considering there's
Well,
more
it's not, because
releases.
they've
But
already said there's already a series that's in the works. Like, they
oh,
think they just
okay. Well,
announced the showrunner, and then they're going to do prequels now that this movie is done
oh,
so
well,
well.
okay,
Because
okay.
in this movie, they have a younger Ed and Lorraine at the beginning of it. And so it might be
Mm.
those actors that end up in the other ones.
Okay, taking over. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
It,
so there you go.
yeah, right.
Um,
Yeah, we've not seen the end of The Conjuring by any means, but
yeah.
what I do, I hope, and I'm sure they won't, but they need to get away from Annabelle, because Annabelle does show up in
Mm,
this quite a bit for no reason at all.
hmm.
Just to be like, oh, remember her? And
Well, maybe they're going to
so
do another Annabelle movie. That's
I
why they're
hope
like,
not.
put.
There's like three of them, I think, right? Like three
I,
sequels.
I might have seen one. I don't know.
Yeah, I saw the second one, which I think is the only good one out of the group from what I've heard. But
Hmm.
and I did not see any of the Nun movies, and I did not
Oh,
see
I haven't. Yeah, I haven't seen those either.
the La Lorena or whatever her name is. But
Oh, is
anyway,
that part of it too?
I didn't know that
See,
either
again,
until
I
someone brought it
stuck
up, and I
to
was like,
The
oh,
Conjuring, and that
yeah,
was enough for me. Yeah.
yeah,
So
um,
yeah, I mean, I think we were talking about this earlier. Studios are finding ways to, if they can strike gold with something, they're like, okay, how can we keep doing that? And if it means a spinoff or a prequel series
yeah.
or a TV series, I feel like that's just kind of the way to do it now, or the way they're doing it now. But I think the interesting thing about this in particular is, literally, we were just coming off the summer box office, and it didn't do as great as people had hoped. And now we're having these other movies come out, and some of them are doing well at the box office. So 2025 might actually end up being a pretty decent year at the box office. The summer box office probably didn't meet expectations, but the yearly box office overall might actually do well, because we're getting some of these surprise hits. Like,
Hmm.
people weren't expecting a lot from The Conjuring. We still have um, Wicked for Good coming out, which is
Right.
going to do well.
Yes.
I don't see that movie not doing well. If it fails, I will be shocked. I don't
Yeah,
think it's
something has
going
gone
to.
very wrong if that movie does not do
Yeah,
well.
and so then we have a couple other ones that might do well, like
Hmm.
Tron, Ares, and
Zootopia 2.
Zootopia 2, which that has been, those kind of movies have done well for Disney, where you've got the sequels to very popular animated family films. And it's another
Yep.
one that's a family film that's coming out when I don't think there's a lot of family films coming out around that time. And it's coming out around Thanksgiving, I believe.
I think so,
So,
yes.
yeah, so it's that sweet time, release time. and a good genre. So we'll see. But yeah, it just this surprised me when I saw the numbers. I was like, wow, that's better than some the bigger blockbuster movies that people were anticipating this summer
Yeah.
for an opening. And of course, this one, the success of this one is probably even more exponential just because the budget is so much lower than a lot of those other movies where it's like they're in the $200 million range, and I think this one was like 55 million, which is still a
Mm.
lot of money to someone like me. But
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
mean, compared to compared to some
Well, when
other
you think of
movies.
like a Blumhouse horror movie that's like maybe 20 million and then it
Mm-hmm.
grosses like 100 and they're like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot of money for a horror movie for sure. But you've got big
Yeah.
star. I mean, you've got when you're coming back for the fourth movie, you're getting that paycheck for sure. So,
Mm-hmm.
Patrick
Yeah.
Wilson and Vera,
Vera.
like, they're,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm sure they cashed in on this. So,
uh Continuing our discussion about movies, there are quite a few movies out in theaters right now. Some of them just are being released this week. Some of them have been out for the past week or so. We've had, let's see, we've had High and Low, which is now on
highest to
streaming.
lowest.
It,
Yeah.
Highest to Lowest, yes, Highest to
Yes,
Lowest.
please. Please.
Spike Lee joint, which is now on streaming on Apple TV Plus. The Roses, The Long Walk, and what else? Oh, Downton
Is
Abbey,
I was gonna say
the grand
Downton's is this
finale.
weekend too, right? Yeah.
Yes. So I haven't seen Conjuring, and that was also another one that just came out
Mhm.
this past week was The Conjuring. So I hadn't seen The Conjuring, but we just talked about that. The Roses we both saw. I
Yeah.
didn't get a chance to do a review for that because it was literally just this past week was crazy busy for me. The past week, so I ended up seeing it, but I didn't get around to doing a review. I still might. I don't know. At this point, I don't know. I still might, but
Well, what did you
I want to
think?
know what you thought. Well,
Oh,
okay. I I didn't like it as much as I thought I was
oh,
going to. I felt like most of the funniest moments were in the trailer,
yes. Well,
and I yeah, and I did not buy. I love Benedict Cumberbatch and I love Olivia Colman. I did not buy them as a couple, and that
interesting.
was really hard. It just something. I don't know if it was because of the way the story was structured. They just meet them so quickly and they get together so quickly, and then suddenly they're a couple, and then they're being torn apart. They're bickering, but I just didn't buy them as a couple. So that's what made it hard for me to kind of care about what was going on with them because I was like, I don't think I know them well enough to to understand what is happening here. With they just everything seems so mean spirited too, but maybe that was the point. I don't know. But yeah, it was like I was expecting this really like rousing kind of comedy, and I didn't quite get that. And another thing that bothered me was, and I understand, dialogue in movies is not exactly how people talk, right? You're scripting it in a way to make it sound interesting and good. It's not exactly conversational, right? Like if you were to listen to how people talk when they're having dinner with each other versus a dinner scene in a movie, it's not quite. But the characters in this movie all talk like they like were written, like the dialogue was written from a self-help book. That I mean, like it was just I was like, what did I even say? Like
Hmm.
just everyone talked like an intellectual, like you thought an
Oh,
intellectual should talk from a self-help book. And I just could I was just I don't know. I mean and they all had these long monologues. They're all, especially Benedict Cumberbatch, was talking. I was like, is this what is this? So I was not
huh. I see.
I'm
I
guessing
had
you
a
liked it
different.
based on your reaction to
Well, I will
my
say
criticism.
I didn't. I don't think I loved it as much as I thought I was going to when I went into it,
Oh,
but
okay.
I did like it.
Mm-hmm.
The things that I liked about it, though, um, one with Benedict Cumberbatch, I liked seeing him play a normal person. For a
Rather than a
change, like
superhero or yeah.
right, or just like a weird kind of like whatever. I mean, he was just like a regular guy for the most part, and
Mm-hmm.
um and it was a comedy. So
Mm-hmm.
like, for the most part, a comedy. Um, so I
Yeah.
thought that was like cool. It was nice to see him in something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing in a way with Olivia Colman, like just because she's done, I mean, she does a lot of different things as well,
Mm-hmm.
but like she's usually now I feel like she's more associated with like award-winning movies and that kind of thing. I mean, I know she
Mm-hmm.
does like Paddington in Peru and stuff like that, but like it was just nice to see her go back to some comedy things like she did earlier in her
Mm-hmm.
career. I thought it was like the fact that this movie got a release in a theater, I thought was
Mm-hmm.
amazing because
Mm-hmm.
this could be like the Four Seasons where I mean I know that was a show, but like that just went to Netflix. Um, they could have treated this much differently, and instead we got what I think is a comedy that we haven't seen in a long time in the theaters. So I
Oh
like
yeah,
that.
definitely.
I also
Yeah.
like this is really dumb, but they spent time with like a title sequence in it because now you don't see that a lot. You know what I mean? Like it's
Yeah.
like
You
we
go
just got to
straight
get
into
the
the movie.
names and like as something's going on. And this took the time to kind of like, hey, you're in a movie, let's kind of
Mm-hmm.
set the tone a little bit for this. Kate McKinnon, I didn't buy Kate McKinnon and Andy Samberg. Like Andy
And
Samberg
that
was
whole that
fine,
yeah, but
but
their interactions too were awkward, and
yeah,
maybe that was the point, but it just felt out of step with other stuff.
I
Yeah.
yes. Allison Janney was wasted in this. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
she's like in like one
Yeah.
scene or maybe two scenes, and that's pretty much it. And
Yeah. And she's
but
great in it
overall,
in that scene, but it's like
yeah, yeah. But then that's
yeah.
it. Like, you don't see anything. Um, I I don't think it's one that you need to like run out and go see in the theaters, but I think if you, I think you'll enjoy it uh, for the most part, unless you're Ashley, and then
Yeah.
you won't.
Unless
So
you
no.
I didn't say I hated I didn't say I hated it. I just didn't find it as funny as I thought it was going to be. It just
Yeah,
yeah, and I just most of the characters were not interesting or likable. Yeah.
I
But
wanted to go back
um
this week and watch the War of the Roses from
oh right,
'89 or
cuz yeah.
'90 because I've never seen it. I've seen clips of it
Mhm.
here and there and just see how it compared, but I haven't done that yet. So
Yeah.
um,
Um so also out is The Long Walk, which
I'm
I assume
excited
you
to
haven't
see
seen
that
it,
one.
but yeah, I really liked it. My review is up, so I'm not going to go into depth here. But if you're interested in my thoughts beyond, I liked it. Uh, my review's up, and then My review is also up on Downton Abbey, um, the grand finale, which I'm a huge Downton Abbey fan. So this was just. I don't think this movie you can't watch this movie if you've not seen the series basically
Yeah,
because this movie serves as the end cap for the series. So you can't just go into this and go, I've never seen Downton Abbey, let me watch it.
yeah.
What's going on with these characters? But if you're a fan, I think it's a satisfying ending. But who knows if it's actually going to be the end because
Is it difficult
is it?
to? Is it weird to not have Maggie Smith in there this time around?
No, because if you saw the previous movie,
Mm-hmm.
that was also the case too. So like what they did with her character. So
Yes.
at
Yes.
this point, yeah. So at this point, it's not odd
Okay.
or awkward. Yeah. But yeah, and then we also want to talk about because we were like, we got to talk about this. Highest to Lowest, which again had a short theatrical run, but it's now available on streaming on Apple TV Plus. My review is up for any of you that want to know what I thought about it. Uh, as I said in my review, I thought the first half was just mind-boggling, strange, and like uneven, and I liked the second half. But Jed, I feel like you had a completely different different
I did not
feeling
like.
on the movie.
Okay,
Any
I
other?
will. Here's the positive. Here's the positive.
Mm,
It's been a long time since I feel like I've seen Denzel enjoy himself in a movie, and I do feel like
mm,
he enjoyed being in this movie. Like,
mm-hmm,
I felt
mm-hmm,
like it was old school Denzel, especially at the beginning of this, and I was like, yeah,
mm-hmm,
man, like this isn't like Gladiator 2 Denzel or like whatever.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
he
yeah.
was in it. He wanted to be there. Like that's cool.
Having fun and yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Um that's the end of my like good part of this, I think.
That's
Like
all she wrote.
yeah, I don't like if you would have told me that had it not been for Denzel and Jeffrey Wright being in this movie,
Hmm.
if you would have told me this was a Tyler Perry movie, I would have believed you. It is
Hmm.
bizarre. Like the choices in it are bizarre. Like
Yeah.
I don't I don't know what was going on here. But what boggles my mind on top of it is I
Hmm.
keep hearing people going, this movie's great. Spike Lee really knows what he's
Hmm.
doing. And I'm like, does he? Like I did not take that away from this movie.
Hmm.
Obviously he's a talented filmmaker. I don't mean that, but I
Hmm.
just mean here, like, this sounds bad.
See,
I know
this
this.
is why. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say this reminded me a little bit of Metropolis, or not Metropolis. What is it called? Uh,
Megalopolis.
Megaopolis, where
Megalopolis. Yes.
it seemed like somebody needed to reel him back in a little bit and be like,
Hmm.
"That's not." And I'm like, I'm looking for subtext. I'm like, am I just not getting this?
See, and that's why I think, at least for me, I enjoyed the second half because the second half felt more like even. It was finding its stride. The pacing was a lot better. The character motivations were, I think, more defined. The first half of this movie, it's just like there were some weird acting choices, delivery of lines, the dialogue is pretty bad. You can barely hear the dialogue sometimes because the soundtrack, the music is
Yeah,
overpowering at times, and it starts in weird places where you're like, why is the music swelling right now? And they're still
right.
talking, like instead of like swelling and then going on to like the next scene. And so yeah, but then we get to the second half, it felt more alive. It felt more like, okay, I've figured out how I want to tell this story, and it made more sense to me. So I don't know. That's why I liked it. I didn't love it, but like the second half was immensely better than the first. The first half, I just was
The,
like, how much
there's a
longer is this
scene
going to continue like this?
there's a scene in the beginning in the first half with Denzel and like I think it's his attorney, and they're sitting in a room, and they
Mm-hmm.
keep moving around the room, and I just wanted to be like, stop it. Like there's no motivation for them to get up and change seats and like all this
Sit
stuff, and I'm
seats
like,
and yeah, yeah, yeah.
yeah, I'm like, oh my god, this is chaotic. But then there's a scene towards the end. I don't want to give too much out of this, but like
Don't
Denzel's
spoil. Don't
suddenly in
spoil.
a music video kind of situation, and I'm like, what is happening at this moment? Do
Yeah,
you know what I'm
I
talking about?
I have some, yes, and I have some thoughts
Okay,
on that, but I can't
yeah,
explain them without spoiling things. But
gotcha.
I feel
Okay,
like that's a very specific choice, considering he's a music producer, the world of hip hop. There's a very specific, I think, cultural thing that's happening there.
okay, all right.
Um, yeah, but yeah, the first half of that movie, I was just like, let us know in the comments what you think. All right, so we're moving on to the last segment of the show. This is the one where we share our one cool thing. I'm gonna go first, and because I don't think I ever go first.
No,
I'm
you
gonna go
always
first
kick it
today.
over to me. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm gonna go first today. So my one cool thing is Alien Earth, which I literally just started watching. It's a new series on Hulu. It's set in the Alien world, like Alien franchise, and I've watched the first episode, and it is amazing. It is just visuals, the story. It feels very much like in step with the original Alien movie, um, and it's just so interesting. And I really like it. I'm someone who's a fan of the Alien franchise. I haven't liked all the movies that have come out of that, but this
That is
show so
fair.
far is really good. So I'm really excited this weekend. I'm just gonna binge all the rest of the episodes that have come out. I don't remember how many there are so far, but I'm just gonna binge the rest of it. But I did catch it because everybody's been talking about it on social media. I was like, okay, let me find some time. I'm at least gonna watch the first episode, and I really enjoyed it. So that's my one cool thing. Check out
That's
Alien.
interesting because I mean I like Noah Hawley and like some of his
Mm-hmm.
other
Because he did
shows,
Fargo.
and
Yeah.
yeah, Legion, if you haven't seen that, that's really cool. But I watched the first episode and it's not that I didn't like it, but it was not what I was expecting, only because
Mm.
I knew that they were going to try to match a little bit with the vibe of like the original Alien, but it was also a
Mm-hmm.
little more artsy than I thought it was going to be for
Mm-hmm.
that kind of a show. But once I got past that, I've loved it. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
all the way caught up yet. I've been trying to
Mm-hmm.
do that this week, and I'm really enjoying that too. So glad to see that you're enjoying it as well.
Yes.
Yes.
All right. What's your
Um,
one cool thing?
my one cool thing. So there was a weird thing that kind of happened. I want to say like started in August, but September has pushed it over the edge a little bit. But
Mm.
they've been re-releasing random movies into the theater, like older movies. So like
Oh
obviously there was
yeah.
like
Mm-hmm.
the 40th anniversary of Jaws, or 50th anniversary of Jaws. I
50th.
that
Yes.
I and
50th.
I went to see that because like it's been a long time since I've seen it, and still holds up and all that. But there
Mm-hmm.
were other things that I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, I wonder why they're re-releasing that right now. And it's like I saw like the IMAX Prince Sign of the Times. They did it for like one night only. Um,
Okay. I
they
think I remember
did
seeing something about that. Yeah.
they did Batman and Batman Returns from Tim Burton. They had made it a Dolby special thing that was only like one night only. But
Mm-hmm.
again, I was like, it's so weird that they're doing this all at the same time. But anyway, so my one cool thing is in September, every day in September, Regal is doing a different classic movie.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are more recent and that kind of thing. I will.
Mm-hmm.
This is just for the next week. So the day that this comes out, they're doing Shawshank Redemption,
Oh,
Inception,
I love Shawshank. Mm-hmm.
Forrest Gump, Sunset Boulevard, Seven, Pan's Labyrinth, and Do the Right Thing. And then there's, like I said, there's one for every day of the week. So if there's ever been a movie that you've always wanted to see or people are referencing and you're like, this is probably a great way to go see it because there's other people that are going to be in the theater to experience it with you. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
they're doing any kind of special intros like they do for some of the like Fathom stuff or not, but
Mm-hmm.
uh, I'm gonna go see, I believe, Pan's Labyrinth because I saw it
Mm-hmm.
years ago in the theater, and I just want to go have that experience because I haven't seen that movie in a long, long time. I missed out on some just because of scheduling conflicts of things that I would have wanted to see and that kind of thing. But go check it out. There's all, like I said, there's one every day this month, and I hope they continue to do this. And if you're a Regal Unlimited
Yeah.
member, it's included in that membership, so you don't have to pay anything extra to go see that one of those movies.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I think this is a perfect time to do it because, as we were talking about before, we're no longer in the summer box office season. So there are going to be weeks where there's not really any big releases until we get to the, I think, like November, like holiday season, award season. So, theaters, I think it makes sense because, you know, I've looked at some of the list of movies, and because I think they had like what Sunset Boulevard and
Mm-hmm.
some other ones. I'm like, oh, that's cool, because again, those are movies I've seen before, but I've never seen them in theaters because I'm
Right.
not that old.
But I
Even though
feel
I
like
think I'm not that old.
Sunset Boulevard is like one that I feel like they put in those Fathom. Like one of the movies is
Oh
Casablanca.
yeah, yeah,
I love
yeah, yeah,
Casablanca, but you can see it usually once a year. You'll find it showing in like Regals or
yeah,
something like that. But
yeah. But that's still cool. All right,
yeah,
nice. Okay, so that's going to do it for us here at the recap. Thanks everyone for joining us. And of course, as always, we ask that you jump into the comments and share your thoughts about any of the topics that we talked about. Because again, we want this to be a discussion, a conversation. I'm really curious to know if anyone has any thoughts on, the Wizard of Oz at the Sphere. We're hotly debating that. Or any of the movies that are out in theaters right now. So anyway, thanks for joining us, everyone. Appreciate you watching. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, Ashley Talks Movies. I appreciate this. Well, and we'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.